My daughter found a locket buried in our backyard. Inside was a photo of a woman who looked exactly like me. The locket is from 1943. We bought our house in 2019. Small two-story place on a half-acre lot at the end of a dead-end road. The previous owners were an elderly couple who moved to a nursing home. Before them, the house had been in one family since it was built in 1938. I didn't think much about the history because the price was right, and my daughter B needed a yard. B was 6 and she loved digging. She'd spend hours in the backyard with a plastic shovel making holes and filling them back in. She found worms, rocks, a rusty nail once, and a lot of nothing. Then one afternoon in April of last year, she came running inside covered in dirt holding something in her fist. She opened her hand and it was a locket. Small, oval, gold, but tarnished almost black. The chain was broken and caked with mud. I cleaned it off in the sink. There was a tiny clasp on the side and I opened it. Inside on the left was a small photograph of a woman. Black and white, slightly faded, but clear enough to see. I almost dropped it. The woman looked exactly like me. Not similar, not kind of like me. Exactly like me. Same jawline, same eyebrows, same way one eye sits slightly higher than the other. My husband Noel was at work. I put the locket on the counter and stared at it for probably 15 minutes. B asked me what was wrong and I told her nothing. I picked it up again and looked at the right side of the locket. There was an engraving. It said, "For my Ruth Ann, 1943. I didn't know anyone named Ruth Ann. Nobody in my family had that name. My mother's side is from Ohio and my father's side is from upstate New York. We had no connection to this town before we moved here. I showed Noel when he got home. He looked at the photo and then looked at me and said, "That's weird." That's all he said. He handed it back and went to change out of his work clothes. I couldn't let it go that easily. The next day, I went to the county records office. The clerk pulled up the deed records. The house was built in 1938 by a man named Harold Goss. He lived there with his wife Ruth Ann Goss until 1951 when the property was sold to the Vesper family. That was all the deed showed. I went to the local library next. The librarian helped me search through old newspapers on their digital archive. It took about 2 hours, but we found something. A notice from the town paper dated November 1945. Ruth Ann Goss had died at the age of 29. No cause of death listed. Just a short notice saying she was survived by her husband Harold and no children. She was 29. I'm 31. I went home and sat with that for a while. A woman who lived in my house, who died at 29, who had my face. I told my mother about it on the phone that night. She got very quiet. I asked her what was wrong. She said it was probably just a coincidence. People look alike sometimes. I told her this wasn't a resemblance. This was my face in a photograph from 1943. She said old photos can be misleading and that I was reading too much into it. I asked her if anyone in our family had ties to this area. She said no. I asked her if she was sure. She said yes and changed the subject. That answer didn't sit right with me. My mom changes the subject when she doesn't want to talk about something, not when there's nothing to talk about. I called my Aunt Francine the next day. Francine is my mother's older sister, and she's the one who remembers everything. She knows every cousin, every marriage, every family secret going back 60 years. I told her about the locket and the woman named Ruth Ann. Francine was quiet for about 10 seconds. Then she said, "Where did you say you live again?" I told her the town and the street. She said, "Oh, just that." Oh, I asked her what that meant. She said she needed to talk to my mother first. I told her I already talked to my mother and she brushed me off.
I will upload the short video of the sequel to the story to my TikTok page. The download link is on my homepage. After successfully downloading, you can search for PM 9992.